Hi, I'm Amanda Keller with the County Manager's Office, and today we wanted to talk a little bit about this crazy heat we've been experiencing this week and some tips for you to be able to stay safe and healthy during this time. So we've got with us our expert, Lougene Marsh. She's the Director of Johnson County Department of Health and Environment. Thank you for joining us today, Lougene.
My pleasure.
So what are some common signs that people should watch out for related to heat-related illnesses?
Certainly. Well, one thing, of course, is body temperature. And as your body temperature rises, and certainly if it would get in excess of 103 degrees, it's becoming very serious. Other things to watch out for is pay attention to your skin. If it's feeling hot, if it's red, if it's dry, these are also indications that you may be getting overheated. Nausea or vomiting, loss of consciousness, any of these things can be signs that the heats may be getting to you.
What if someone sees another person who's exhibiting some of these signs?
Well, an important thing would be to get them into a cooler location as quickly as possible. If they have on excess clothing, maybe help remove some of that, apply some cool cloths to them. Those kinds of steps will help address it. And certainly if you think they're suffering from heat stroke, this is a medical emergency and 911 is the appropriate action.
Okay. And who is most likely to suffer from these kinds of heat issues?
Well, certainly older adults, individuals 65 and older need to be particularly mindful of their heat exposure, as well as individuals with chronic health conditions. And some medications will cause you to be more sensitive to heat, so that might be something to check with your physician about. Certainly infants and young children are more at risk, outdoor workers, athletes if they're exercising, working out during extreme heat, and people without air conditioning. So something to think about really for any of those categories of people that are at risk, especially the elderly and people with chronic health conditions. Checking on them regularly during these kind of excessive heat periods is really important. And Johnson County government provides that for individuals who are receiving Meals on Wheels, because we have someone delivering those meals and having that contact with the individual each day.
That's great. So you mentioned people without air conditioning. What are some tips or suggestions that you would give them for staying as cool as possible?
Well, a really good idea is to try to go to someplace where it is cool, where there is air conditioning, maybe like a public library.
There you go.
And I know we'll talk more about that later, but even going to a shopping mall, or if resources are possible, go to a movie theater. Staying indoors in an air conditioning setting for 2 or 3 hours is really a good way to sort of make sure that you're going to be able to handle the heat when you go back outside. Other things to think about: take a cool bath or a cool shower. And really this is a good time not to be turning on the oven. And which also leads us to what should you be eating during extreme heat, and probably not any hot or heavy meals, because they're going to cause your body temperature to rise. So those are some of the things to think about. And also just a reminder, we shouldn't rely solely on fans for cooling. It's not going to do the job in terms of making sure you don't have adverse effects from heat.
Okay. What about people who work outside? Certainly there are a lot of those who might need to take extra precautions.
Absolutely. And so wearing lightweight and light-colored clothes, wearing a hat with a brim, to the greatest extent possible. You can move to shady areas at least periodically to cool down. And this is true not only for people working outside, but also for people that just generally is drinking lots of water, and avoiding other kinds of drinks that might sound appealing, like that cold beer that might just be very appealing on a hot summer afternoon, but alcohol and caffeinated beverages and sugary drinks are actually the worst things we can do in terms of drinking things during excessive heat. So remember the water, and don't wait until you feel thirsty before you drink.
Is there anything else that you would recommend for people to just make sure that they're doing okay in this heat?
Well, I can't stress the water intake enough. And again, trying to avoid the heat. If you're going to have to be outside, try to do that before 10 in the morning or after 7 in the evening. And don't forget your pets. They need special attention during hot weather as well. And that constant reminder, neither a child nor a pet should ever be left in a car during extreme heat periods.
We've had 2 days this week of ozone alert days.
We have.
So can we talk a little bit about what that means and what people can do about it?
Sure. So that ground level ozone is really created from car emissions, power equipment emissions, industry. And when that reacts with heat and sunlight, it creates ground level ozone. And the reason we care is because for people with breathing problems, or especially older adults, that ozone interferes with the ability of our lungs to absorb oxygen, can cause coughing. And so people with asthma, other kind of respiratory conditions need to be particularly mindful of staying indoors during high ozone alert days.
Are there things people can do to help protect themselves?
Well, there certainly are. To the extent you can, avoid driving your vehicle, catching a ride, using public transit, riding a bike or walking. Any of those are good alternatives. That's not possible for everyone, so minimizing the amount of driving that you're doing when we're during a high ozone period. Certainly also don't fuel your car if you can avoid it until after dusk, because those vapors again can convert to and create ozone pollution. And really over half of the ozone issues are created by us just doing our daily activities. We often think, well, it's industry and all of their emissions, but we're causing a lot of it. So again, just being mindful of our activities during high ozone periods.
Great. Well, thank you so much for all of the wonderful information. If anyone has a question for Lougene or just generally about this topic, feel free to write the question in the comments below. And I did want to mention that the reason we are here at the Central Resource Library today in Overland Park on 87th Street is because libraries serve as cooling centers during extreme heat. So feel free to come in and chill out. See what I did there? And use the free Wi-Fi and read a book, read a magazine. There's no shortage of fun things to do at the library. There's activities for the kiddos. So just keep that in mind. There are 13 locations throughout the county for the Johnson County Library, and you can check those locations and hours out online at jocolibrary.org/locations. So thanks so much for watching today, and stay safe out there in the dog days of summer, and we'll see you next time.